what's up? That's awesome. 1/3 of an Oreos container. Ooh, I can see why. Were they good Oreos?
Yes.
Alrighty. So what was going on in the world of Omori?
Hell did knock, 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 and then said, "Oh, I didn't expect you to answer." And then he's all older
Uh-huh.
and bigger and in high school and he has like a basketball orange shirt.
Uh-huh.
And he said, Hero's away at college, but he'll be coming home in a couple of days. And
Oh
then
yeah.
Abby said, "I'm angry." And she stole Basil's book, photo book from him.
Uh-huh.
Um, so he tried to go back, and then like she's like, "That's a knife," and so she left. And now you're just kind of going around town collecting trash and taking odd jobs.
Oh yes. That is very true. Who's this guy? Are you sure you want to? Have I donated to him before?
I know you donated to the guy for music.
Oh yeah. That old guy says, I can't wait for the next installment of Omori. This is all new for me. Me too. Can't listen right now, but hope you guys have a nice stream. Yes, Aru, thank you.
Thank you,
If you can hear
Aru.
this, thank you for the well wishes. I'll
And
say
if you
it in
can hear
chat just in
this,
case.
Throwlin says, "Fast." Oh,
Farts is back.
that is not my name. You will either refer to me as Faster or Quasimodo Football 2.
You have currently donated $1 to Ode Hobo. Thanks, good lads. I'll be sure to pay you back somehow. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm dyslexic. Okay, then you're forgiven. Yeah, Quasimodo Football. He's like a very nice and forgiving person.
Oh, yes. I know, that's for sure. Oh no, you look like you're hurt. Here's a bandage. You can get more at the pharmacy and other marts. Thank you. $7, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's this crazy freak?
Who would ever want Twitch on not dark mode?
Oh,
It
was yours
keeps
on?
Yeah, it keeps defaulting to that. For the longest time, it was always on dark mode, but then recently, it just changes itself to light mode as if that's what I wanted.
Oh, I see. Hey, bub, could you spare a few nickels? Really appreciate it. Alright, I'll donate $1. Thank you kindly. No problem.
Man.
Hmm. Knowing Kim in advance, they're probably somewhere around here. Oh, hey, there she is.
Hurry, Vance. Let's shove in all our pockets before someone sees us.
Hey, Kim, have you seen Aubrey anywhere?
Shoot! It's that nerd, Kel! Come on, Vance, we gotta go!
Is
Whoa,
it cutting
hold
out or
on there.
anything?
What?
Is it cutting out or anything?
Not yet. Hasn't
Okay.
so far.
So then I can like adjust the sensitivity settings or whatever it's called.
Okay. I'll let you know if it cuts out. Whoa, hold on there. I don't think you paid for those.
Get out of the way, nerd! You don't know me!
Hey, hold on. I'm not here to snitch. We just need to find Aubrey. You know where she is?
Huh? Aubrey? I don't know anything about that. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you.
I've had enough of this for today. Kim, let's make a deal. You tell me where Aubrey is, and I won't turn you in for stealing all that candy.
I thought you said you weren't a snitch.
And I don't need to be if you just tell me where Aubrey is.
You two again? I thought I told you to never come back in here. Smiley, smiley.
Uh-oh.
Hand over the stolen candy. Don't make me call the cops on you kids. Smiley, smiley.
We've been busted.
Fine.
Fine. Here's your stupid candy. Come on, Vance. Let's get out of this dump.
How's the audio, that old guy? Can you hear the nice music and Throlin? Can you hear our voices over the music while still being able to hear the music? Because I don't want it to be too quiet. Actually, it just stopped, so now's a bad time to ask. Haha! Serves you right! Wait. How will we find out where Aubrey is now? His dot eyes. Come on, Sonny. Let's follow them.
Hi, it's me. The happy and cheery Miss Candace. What would you like today, smiley, smiley? So that old guy says it sounds perfect, and Thurlin says, no, the only voices I'm hearing are the ones in my head playing Overwatch 2.
Ah, I see.
Do you know any Overwatch quotes? I don't think I
Justice reigns from above. It's high noon.
do. That's what it sounds like in his head. Probably like some shooting noises or something.
Please come again. Smiley, smiley.
Mhm.
Remember that. no, it's more of the voices telling me to uninstall the game.
Oh no!
No more justice raining from above. Do the same voices talk about League as well? Hold up one sec, Sonny. I think I have an idea. Sorry for the hold up. 100% yes. Oh, Throlin. Those voices, huh? I can turn them up. Sorry for the hold up. Let's go catch up to Kim and Vance. What do you think he did, Fastra? What did Kel do that caused the hold up?
I think he went to the bottom of the pineapple. I was trying to fit it into the SpongeBob theme song, and then all the words got jumbled up, and it just turned into nothing.
The bottom of the pineapple. That was perfect, Fascia. Don't worry. Fastest?
Yeah. Oh, I thought for some reason that it was you talking to like the other character, like to the right, and I was like waiting for you to say it because I was like, oh, it's a different character. So I was just kind of staring at the screen, just watching him do that.
Yep. That's funny.
Sorry, Vance. No candy today.
No, not again. I don't know how much longer I can last. We're going to die.
Let's just go home. We're gonna be late for dinner.
Wait, Kim. I have something for you.
You again, Kel? What the heck do you want, you bully?
Tell us where Aubrey is, and I will give you this whole big bag of candy.
Really? The whole bag? I mean, wait. You can't buy us off with candy. Who do you take us for?
I don't know, Kim. We haven't had candy for an entire week. And there's a whole bag right in front of us. We don't even have to pay for it. Can you at least ask if he has any taffy in there?
Aw.
Stop it, Vance. We have to stay strong. When we go to Dad's house, we'll be able to have all the candy we want.
Okay. I'll do it for you, sis.
Kim. Vance. I'm waiting.
Like we'd accept candy from a bunch of nerds.
That was a good candy pun. Aw, man, really? I was sure that would work.
This is a waste of time. Let's get out of here.
Wait! Please, Kim, you're the only lead we've got. Please take the big bag of candy. We even have taffy in here.
Did someone say taffy?
I see. That changes everything. Fine. You really want to know that badly, huh? Let's settle this with our fists. If you win, I'll tell you where Aubrey is. But if we win, you give us that bag of taffy and never talk to us ever again.
Oh. Wait a sec. There's no need to fight. If you just tell me where she is, I'll give you this whole bag.
But I want to fight. Come on, put him up, you two. It's time to duke it out.
What is with you guys and fighting? Well, I guess we have no choice. Come on, Sonny. You know the drill. Whoa.
I'll show you that size isn't everything. I'm not about to lose to nerds like you.
That's not how I expected them to look.
Yeah.
That's kind of epic. I'm eating my second Uncrustable.
What flavor?
Grape. Oh.
Your face annoys me.
Ouch.
You're still nerds.
Uh-oh. Oh, one?
What the?
Here we go. You gotta get this guy. He's tough.
Ouch. That hurts.
Yeah, there's more where that came from, pal. We got this.
Yeah.
Dang. All I wanted was some taffy.
Yay.
I can't believe we lost. Can never let Aubrey know about this.
Come on, Kim. We gotta go home. It's almost time for dinner and Mom's gonna be really mad if we're late.
Shoot, let's get out of here.
Wait! Where do you think you're going? We won, so you need to tell us where Aubrey is.
Oh. Yeah, that's right. Aubrey's at the church. The one near her house.
Huh? Aubrey's at church?
Hey, don't look at me. You're the one who wanted to know.
Thanks for the hydrate.
Also, if she asks who told you, tell her it wasn't me. Say it was. How do you pronounce it again? McCall?
Maybe. I forgot to. I know we looked it up.
It was McCall or something.
Come on, Kim. We gotta scoot. You know how Mom gets when we're late.
Yeah, I hear ya.
Mikhail.
I don't know. Let's go. Smell you later. Nerds.
Oh, nuts! They took the big bag of candy while I wasn't looking. Those two have got some sticky fingers. Oh well. At least we know where Aubrey is now. Or at least I think we do. I can't really imagine Aubrey at church. But I'll believe it when I see it. Just a little drum beat.
Da-da-da-da.
I wonder where the church is. And where's Aubrey's house for that matter? Looks like I'll just have to brute force it.
It's in a pineapple under the sea.
There you go. Maybe down here? No, this is the end of the road. I'll check the other way then. They didn't look both ways when crossing the road.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Is this it? I found it! Aubrey's old blue bike. Faraway cemetery. They got a cemetery in Omori? Well, here we are. This really is the last place I would expect her. Kind of skeptical, actually. It might be a trap. I'll open the door a little to take a peek. Looks normal to me. I think they're in the middle of a sermon. Oh! There she is on the right! She's just sitting there. All normal. So weird! Yeah, I'd feel pretty bad about interrupting this. We should probably wait until the sermon is over or something. Oh, I can just ignore his advice. Whoa, I didn't expect you to just walk in like that, Sonny. Well, there's no turning back now. Come on, we have to be really quiet. He moves very slowly.
Oh,
You shouldn't disturb others during a sermon. Not even little Aubrey. She's still just hair. There she is on the right. Let's walk to the pew behind her. can't keep going. It's very atmospheric music. Aubrey. Psst. Aubrey.
What
Her
the?
face.
What the? What the heck are you guys doing here?
We want you to give back Basil's photo album.
You're still on about that? That's none of your business.
Really? None of my business? We all used to be best friends, but now this is none of my business?
Yeah, Kel. Exactly. We used to be friends.
You know, Mari would be really sad to hear that.
Huh. Really? You really want to bring Mari into this? Who cares what Mari thinks?
What?
Mari's dead. Uh-huh.
Huh? Aubrey, seriously? What's wrong with you? I get that you have new friends now, but you can't just forget your old friends like that.
My old friends? My old friends weren't there for me when I needed them.
So that's what this is all about. When Mari passed on, we were all dealing with our own stuff. We were kids. It was hard.
You think it's all so simple. You've always been simple, Kel.
So what if I am? I'd rather be simple than be like you. How could you do that to Basil? You know how important his photo album is to him.
It's important to all of us.
That doesn't mean you can just steal it.
Is that what Basil told you? I'm the one keeping it safe.
What? What are you talking about? That photo album belongs to Basil, and I'm not leaving until you agree to give it back.
Ugh. You're so persistent. When Mari died, you moved on so fast. You know why I come here every week? Even after all this time, I'm still trying to find some peace. But it doesn't look like that's happening today. We haven't talked in 4 years, Kel. A lot changes in 4 years. You and Sunny think you can just barge back into my life and tell me what to do? Don't be so naive.
You might look different and act different, Aubrey, but you're still the same person.
Huh. The Aubrey you knew is long gone. And the Aubrey that was your friend? She's long gone too.
Okay, fine. I get that you're angry. Look, if it's an apology you want, here. I'm sorry, okay? I should have been there for you when we lost Mari.
No. I won't accept this.
Wait! Where are you going? I can't let you go until you... I can't let you go until you promise me you'll give Basil's photo album back, you thief! What's happening? Basil? Isn't that the boy who... I've seen Aubrey and her friends bully. Now she's stealing as well. Oops.
Oh. You think you're the good guy, don't you, Cal? And I'm the big bad bully. Here to terrorize poor defenseless Basil. You're the one hanging out with the psychopath who carries around a knife.
Now's not the time to do this, Aubrey.
You don't get to say that. You're the one who barged in here.
I already said I was sorry for everything.
If you want me to be a bully, then I'll be a bully. You two better come at me quick. Or I'll come at you first.
On the background. That's pretty cool. But no. This is crazy. Why didn't you tell me it was like this?
You had no idea about Mari? You haven't been spoiled?
No, I didn't know that. Full disclosure. I did not know that.
She never goes around with you in the dream world, other world?
Uh-huh.
She's always on her blanket.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's insane. And what a way to find out. Where she just dropped it like that. Ouch! 70 damage? Is this Kel talking?
No idea.
Oh, I just got a good elbow pop while doing stretching time. Thanks for that, Ricky. Oh no, is right, that old guy. I got chills when I said that line. It's like, look at her clothing. It is completely inappropriate for church. Oh, jeez.
Why are you here?
Oh, she does a lot of damage.
I can't believe she would bring a weapon in here. How uncivilized. What do these delinquents think they're doing? This is a place of worship.
Why? Why now?
She's only attacking Kel. Someone needs to stop them. Where are their parents? Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Oh, he's not toast. He just does that now.
Yeah.
That girl's a threat to this neighborhood. There's no hope for sinners like her. Oh, jeez.
Oh. Oh. Get it. You two aren't worth my time.
Oh, ever since her father left, she's so uncontrollable. Disrespectful. I feel bad for her mother. Shoot. I know she's been kind of messed up lately, but I still feel sorry for her. Maybe this was a bad idea. Wow. Come back, I know. It's about time that girl ran off. Now, maybe all of my friends will come back to church again.
I just wanted to spend my day off in peace.
Oh, I can't go up there. Oh, I can.
Oh dear. Looks like our youngest son didn't show up to church again.
Mikhail, where are you? Why must you make your mother worry?
Our family comes to church once a week.
Sometimes twice.
Sometimes thrice. I usually wouldn't condone fighting in the middle of a sermon, but that seemed really important. That girl Aubrey has come here every week for the past few years, but she never talks to anyone. I've tried to approach her a few times, but she keeps calling me, bad things. She seems very troubled. Perhaps she could use a friend. A grand piano. What?
This lawn is pretty quiet, isn't it? You can't hear the hustle and bustle of the streets here at all. The only things here are wandering spirits. Oh, and me, of course. What's with that look? I ain't dead yet.
A teddy bear. A headstone. Flowers. A headstone. Flowers. A headstone. Flowers. A headstone. Why can't I read any of them? Ooh, this one looks important. Oh!
Mm.
Dearest Mari, the sun shined brighter when she was here. Mari, it feels like so long ago already. I still think about her all the time. I'm sure you do too. You know, when Mari passed away, Hiro really stopped caring about everything. He didn't want to get out of bed for school or even eat. He stopped taking care of himself, stopped baking and cooking. It was like that for almost a year. Mom and Dad didn't know what to do either. We all tried to help him and be supportive, but nothing was really working. One night, I went over to him while he was all huddled in his blankets and started saying stuff. Stuff like how we all miss him and how we want him to get better. How everyone is really worried. How Mari wouldn't want to see him like this. I thought I was helping him, but Hiro got angry. He suddenly got up and started screaming and yelling at me about a bunch of stuff. Some of it was pretty hurtful too, but I think I blocked out a lot of it. His eyes were already super red. But the more he yelled at me, the harder he cried. I tried my best to calm him down, but whatever I said just made him worse. I've never seen Hiro do anything close to that before. It really took me by surprise. And I was so scared that, well, I started crying too. Eventually, Mom and Dad ran to our room and rushed over to hug him and calm him down. But they completely ignored me. I think that's where Hiro got his senses back, because he ran to me and hugged me right away. Just kept apologizing over and over. But at least Hiro got a lot better after that. He started taking care of himself again and focusing on school a lot more and joining a bunch of extracurricular stuff. He's naturally good at everything, but he still works really hard, so I'm proud of him. Guess he's a little more closed off now than he used to be, but I'm really just glad to have my brother back. Anyway, sorry for the long story. I don't think I've ever told anyone that before. It's not his fault, but I still think Hiro blames himself for Mari's death. Hiro's never visited here. Not even once. I know it really hurts, but maybe it might be good for him. I don't know. That's hard to imagine Hiro like that.
Mm-hmm.
A white egret orchid. In the language of flowers, it symbolizes the phrase, "My thoughts will follow you into your dreams." I want to put flowers. The symbol of faraway town. It's supposed to represent a gateway to a better life. You remember learning about it in class when you were in elementary school, but you can't remember all the details. Bread smells toasty.
I love bread.
Puzzle pieces. I reserve my judgment. The Lord will be the one to judge you. Where are your manners off brawling about like that? You should be ashamed. I can't talk to the other people. Can't get to them. That was a nice little transition.
Yeah.
Where's Aubrey at?
Mm.
Oh. Did you see that? Aubrey just dumped something into her trash can. Let's go check it out. Whoa! I don't believe it! It's Basil's photo album! Hey, she said she was keeping it safe. I can't believe she would just throw it out like that. It's a good thing we looked through this trash can. But on the bright side, at least we have Basil's photo album now. And it only took us half a day, too. Talk about teamwork. How about a high five, Sonny? Do you want to high five Kel? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's give this
Uh-huh.
back to Basil before it gets dark. He'll be so happy when he sees it. Does she just like to collect traffic stuff? How could she just throw it out like that? Basil's most precious belonging. What? Holy mackerel. There's a lot of photos. Oh, 25 Christmas. My first photo. It's at my best friend, Sonny, trying out his new violin. He's starting to take lessons again so he can play at recitals with his sister, Mari. So exciting. Just Kel being Kel. So many party hats. Why is there some places where it's like a caption but no photo?
You weren't able to read those, right?
I was trying to, but nothing. I'm pressing A, nothing happens.
Okay.
Sonny playing a video game on the couch. Sonny's a little shy, but he's a really good listener. I always end up venting to him when I get upset or stressed. Sometimes I feel like I'm bothering him, but he never seems to mind. We're back from the park, but Kel is still full of energy. He challenged Hero to an arm wrestling match, but we all know who's going to win. Please go easy on him, Hero. Oof. Sorry, Kel. Better luck next time. Kel was still feeling a little sour about losing to Hero in arm wrestling last night, so Hero decided to lean in for a smooch. Kel looks so annoyed. Ah, brotherly love. showing Sunny a book I've been reading. Mari stole my camera and took this when I wasn't paying attention. I should really keep better track of my things. It's all of us cuddling with Sunny's stuffed animals. He has so many, and they're all so soft. I wish I could just lay here forever. Mari is teaching everyone how to make flower crowns. Here's Sunny and Kel holding Mari's example. It looks perfect, doesn't it? If only Mari thought so too. Hey, this looks familiar. Oh. Hero's still making his flower crown. It's taking him a little while, but he's getting there. You have to
Yeah, I was about to
admire his
ask.
persistence.
I was about to ask if these photos look familiar.
Uh-huh. Not this one, though. It's raining super hard today. The rain always seems to come out of nowhere during springtime. Aubrey asked me to take a picture of her with her new raincoat. It's her favorite color, pink. Aubrey won't let Kel under the umbrella, but Kel seems to be taking it just fine. He says he likes how the rain tastes. Just Kel being Kel again. We went to Hobbies, but the shop owner told Kel to leave his jacket outside since Kel was getting all his comics wet. Sorry, shopkeep. It's been pretty busy with school lately, but we finally made time to get together and go to the park today. Here's Kel hanging by his legs off a tree. He's such a good climber. I wish I was as fearless as him. It's the first day of summer vacation, so we all wanted to celebrate by going to the beach. Watermelon is Aubrey's favorite. Hey. Kel cooling off with some refreshing Orange Joe. I shouldn't get too close or he might get my camera wet. Kel is known to spill his drinks. Here's Sunny in the sand. It took forever, but it looks like he's enjoying himself. I wonder if he's
Take a
going to leave
screenshot
me
of that
alone.
one.
Okay. Guess I'll keep him company until then.
I really like that one.
Me too. Yay! Sunny is turning 12 today. Even though me, Sunny, Aubrey, and Kel are in the same school year, Sunny is younger than all of us. He's the baby of the group, so we have to take care of him.
So they were all, except Sunny, were about 12 years old. Now they're 16.
Yeah.
And then Hiro and Mari are at least 2 years older than that. I forgot their exact ages. Maybe like 15 and 19. Might be
Yeah.
younger though.
Whoa. Sunny holding a super huge present from Mari and Hiro. I wonder what it is. You can't really tell from the photo, but Mari and Hiro got Sunny a giant building block set. Sunny seems much more interested in the box, though. He acts just like Mari's new kitten, Mellow. I like that he's just in there.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still in there.
Yeah.
Sunny won't leave the box, so Kel put a food bowl outside. I guess this box will be Sunny and Mellow's new home. Oh, beetle. We're going beetle catching today. Here's Kel, ready to pounce on his next victim. Oh, Sunny's there too. He looks kind of sleepy. I went to the bathroom and came back to this photo. Kel says he took a picture of himself on accident, but I don't believe him. I remember that. Aw.
It's the first day of school today. Me, Sunny, Kel, and Aubrey are up bright and early. Aubrey is so photogenic.
That's a nice one.
Goodbye, summer. Until next year.
And nice photos.
So what do you notice about the pictures?
There's a lot missing.
Which name all the characters who had at least one picture.
Everyone but Mari.
Yep.
I thought for a second that this one was Mari, but then I saw it was Aubrey. Where's Mr. Basil live again? I forgot.
In a shoe.
Oh yeah.
Knock, knock! Basil! It's your friends, Kel and Sunny.
Oh.
Oh, hello there. Who are you?
Hi, Basil. Oh, wait. You're not Basil.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Polly. I'm Basil's caretaker.
Oh, I thought it was his mom. Aw. Aw.
Oh, hey, Kel. What is it? Hi, Basil. We got your photo album back. Huh? You did? Wow. Thank you.
You gave Basil back his photo album.
Basil, you didn't tell me you had friends coming over. Would you like to join us for dinner? I always seem to cook just a little too much.
Dinner? Sure, sounds delicious. Come on, Sunny, free dinner.
Please make yourself at home. I'll go ahead and finish up the food.
Wow, it's been a while since I've been in here. You definitely have a lot more plants than you used to. Yeah, I like them a lot. Actually, there's some that is still alive from when you guys came here more often. Wow, you sure are dedicated. Yep, that's Basil for you. Flowers and photos. Oh, that reminds me. Now that we got your photo album back, we can all go through the photos together. That's, I don't know. It's been a while since you've looked through them, hasn't it? Come on, it'll be fun. Sure. Okay. Here it is. Oh man, looks like a lot of the photos are still missing. Maybe Aubrey kept them for herself. We'll have to get those back later. On the bright side, look how short I was. I know I've grown at least a foot since Hiro left for college. I can't wait until he comes back. This year I'll finally be the taller brother. Anyway, don't sweat it about the missing photos, Basil. Me and Sunny will take care of things for you. You just focus on getting back to your happy, carefree self. Okay. Thank you. I'll try.
Sorry about the wait. Dinner's taking longer than I thought. Would any of you boys like to help?
Yeah, sure. I'll help. I got some experience helping my brother cook and stuff.
Oh, that would be lovely. Please follow me. The kitchen is this way.
Oh, hi, Sunny. It's nice to finally see you again. Why are you staring at me like that? Sunny? Is everything okay? Huh. Why do you react like that?
Tonight for dinner, we'll be making chicken vegetable soup.
Why'd you say it like that?
How's that sound?
Soup and veggies? Sounds nutritious and delicious.
You really think so? I was afraid you'd be a bit disappointed. People always tell me that my taste is a bit bland.
Don't worry about what other people think. All food is good to me. I'll eat anything you throw at me.
Dinner will be ready soon. Please feel free to make yourself at home.
Gardening and indoor plant care. That checks out. Some photos of Basil and his parents. You've never met them before. A vase. There's a lot of dust in it. I'm really making myself at home just going off exploring all the rooms by myself.
Yeah.
A bathtub with some strange equipment attached to it. So Fascia told me that there's a... Remember when we actually saw Grimm upon the altar?
Yes.
Wasn't that... This is a similar rumor where apparently there's like an Easter egg if you look in the mirror enough times or something. Fascia told me that.
Keep looking, it might appear. Keep looking.
Just like Grimm upon the altar. That was so awesome. When was that? When did we see him do that?
When I got Folo.
Oh yeah. And he was actually up there for the
Yeah, and he made a little
SSR.
sound effect. I wasn't expecting like this.
That was so awesome.
La 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 la.
I wonder when the next time we're gonna see Grimm upon the altar. Seems like a pretty rare thing. Basil's camera. It looks really dusty. Aw. Watering pail. Flowers. What? Basil's grandma is breathing steadily. I didn't know she would be in here. Aw.
white aigrette orchid. In the language of flowers, it symbolizes the phrase, "My thoughts will follow you into your dreams." Oh. Oh, Sunny. I didn't expect to see you in here. How are you doing, Sunny? Is everything okay with you? Okay. Never mind then. Grandma can't hear us, you know. She hasn't been feeling very well lately. It's already been 4 years, hasn't it? It's nice to see that you're still around, even if it's only for a little while. Here, take my photo album. I want you to have it. I'm trusting you with it, okay? I just think you can probably use it more than me. Wow, Basil gave you his photo album. A lot has happened since these pictures were taken. Sometimes it feels like it was all a bad dream. It's hard to remember now, but I think at the time, I took photos of what I was most afraid to lose. Flipping through this album, you can still see the good times. Maybe one day, things can go back to the way they were before. Sunny! Basil! Dinner's ready! Okay, coming.
What the? It's Landa with the hot dogs.
Yes.
Munch, 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 munch. What took you so long? Pi and I worked really hard on this. Hurry up and take a seat, Sunny. Come on, Sunny. Let's have dinner.
A few months ago, Basil's parents hired me as Basil's caretaker since they travel out of the country frequently.
She just randomly drops that lore at the dinner table. Polly and Kel's homemade dinner. Would you like to eat some? Yes.
Everything tastes so good. You're the best, Polly.
Oh, it's nothing. I'm just following Grandma's recipes. Thanks for your help, Kel.
So as I was saying before, Polly, tomorrow, my older brother, Hero's finally coming back from college. My mom's all crazy right now, preparing the house and everything. Don't want to be anywhere near that mess. Although, I am pretty excited to see him. Every time he comes back, the first thing we do is compare heights. This year is the year that I'm finally gonna be taller than him. I can feel it in my bones.
You and your brother seem close. That's good. family is important.
Oh, hey. What you doing with Basil's photo album there, Sonny? Oh, I gave it to him. I just thought he should have it. Whoa, really? That's so cool of you. Makes sense. Especially since Sonny's moving away and all. What? Sonny's moving? Oh yeah! I thought I already mentioned it. I must have forgot. He's moving in 3 days, I think? Sorry. I thought you already knew. No. I guess I must have missed it. Sorry. May I be excused? I have to go to the bathroom. Aww. What's up with him? Well, that's just how it is. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Can't eat anymore. What's up with him? Well, that's just how it is.
Basil's been going to the bathroom a lot lately. I hope it's not my food.
Let's just watch some TV while he uses the restroom. Oh.
Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay.
Whoa.
Oh, it's you. Sonny, you're here. I'm so glad. You can see it too, can't you? Something behind you.
What the heck? Oh, there is something! It wasn't a faster rumor after all.
Sonny, why do you look so scared? Sonny, everything is okay now, isn't it? Oh, wait, please, Sonny, don't leave me. Not again.
Uh. Oh. Wow.
Oh, hey, Sonny. I think it's about time we went home. It's way past my curfew. So, yeah. Anyway, Polly, if you ever need me, here's my address. I live just down the block.
Thanks, Kel. You're sweet.
Oh, it's nothing. Say goodbye to Basil for me. No.
You're probably wondering who I am, right? Nobody really. Just a nurse. How would you pronounce nurse? Nurse. Who was taking care of Basil's grandmother.
Just a nurse.
Nurse. A few months ago, Basil's parents hired me as Basil's caretaker, since they travel out of the country frequently. I try to do as much as I can for Basil while I'm here, but ever since I started staying here, I can't shake the feeling that Basil's trying to avoid me.
Oh.
I wonder if I'm doing something wrong.
Basil! Oh, Basil! Aw, poor guy. He's always had a weak stomach. Hope he feels better soon. Yeah. It's nighttime. Da 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 da. You shouldn't disturb others this late at night.
You, you got the wrong game, dude.
Oops. Which is his house? This is the hardest part of the game, is knowing where his house is. Kel, where's your house?
It's neighbors to you.
Where's my house? I was listening to the Deltarune soundtrack while playing Fall Guys yesterday. It was fun. Wait, hold up, Sonny. I know it's been a while since you've been over at my place, but now not the good time. I thought you needed to head home, buddy.
I pretty much fell asleep not long after I left the Fall Guy stream. Like, it was sometime before midnight, and then, like I even didn't do my Duolingo, like, because I thought I'd still, like, I didn't expect to fall asleep that fast.
That's crazy. For tired Stra. Hey, Sonny. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Sorry for all the trouble. That was a pretty crazy adventure, huh? I can tell you haven't talked to anyone in a while. But that's okay. It just takes practice. Anyway, Hero's coming back from college tomorrow, so I'm sure he'll want to see you before you leave. So, if you don't mind, I'll be coming back for you again in the morning. Good night, Sonny. Sweet dreams. What?
That's what my apartment looks like.
The door is locked. Nostra! Can't live in this. Whispers emanate from inside the box. Holy mackerel, what is going on? Ah!
What the?
Oh my goodness. Oh! I thought I was gonna be able to, like, slash them. Whoa. What on earth?
Group. Group.
What kind of nightmare is this?
La la la. Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Mm. What would you do if the stairs in your house were this much?
Do what he just did there. I could not make it. Oh. Oh. What? Oh.
He doesn't deserve this.
Uh-huh. Sunny's attack did nothing. Something's trying to talk to you.
This is getting nowhere fast, huh, Sonny? Seems like there's a lot going on. You need to block out the little things and figure out what's important.
Clear your mind and remember how to focus. Sunny focuses. Oh. Just one little spider. Where'd it go? Ah! You were right, Bastra. There is an Easter egg. Whoa. Whoa. Welcome to White Space. There's nothing here for as long as you can remember. We're back here.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being piano.
Oh yeah.
It was like 8-bit or something. What? What is this?
Hey, welcome back.
See, Hero? I told you not to worry. Amori always shows up when we need him.
He's like a little tiny creature.
I know.
Is everything okay, Amori? We were worried about you.
Now that you're here, let's go out and look for Basil. He's counting on us.
Be patient, Kel. We have to make sure that Amori is okay first. Or maybe you and Hero can go yourselves. Come on, Amori. Let's go exploring together. Just the two of us.
Hey, you can't leave us out of this.
She's right, Aubrey. We have to do this together as a team. You never know when you'll need someone's help. We're stronger when we work together.
Amori and I will be fine on our own. You'll protect me, won't you, Amori?
Ew, gross. Get a room.
Come on, Aubrey. It's time to get serious now. Let's go tell Mari that Amori is okay. You know she's always worrying about him.
Okay, fine. I was just trying to have a little fun.
It's my party!
Yeah.
Things are back to the way they were. With that big cat watching me. And I can get my allowance from the snake. Waiting for something to happen.
Going out, Amori? Here's your allowance for today.
750 clams.
Yeah.
I like this song. Oh yeah. Let's do it again. I didn't know we were gonna go back into this place.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were, I didn't know when. I'll let them build sandcastles while I go use the restroom real quick. Ow. How's the sandcastles been going?
Good.
Mari.
Hey, Mari, look, Amori is here. Amori.
I can hear you now. Hey, welcome back. What you eating? A delicious red crispy apple.
Some pretty big stuff happened in the hour and 40 minutes we've been streaming, gameplay wise.
Mm-hmm.
Stop disappearing like that. You know my heart can't take it. So, there's still no sign of Basil?
That's crazy. I just had apple slices. Hey, apples are so good, right? I can see why you had them.
Where could he be?
We're not sure. We've been looking looking for him everywhere, and still nothing.
I hope Basil is okay. I miss him so much.
Yeah, I miss hearing him talk about all the stuff he's into. Like all the flower stuff, and the photo stuff, and the art stuff, and the reading stuff.
My hair is so tangly. I miss when Basil used to brush my hair. Amari, will you brush it for me?
Well, I miss when Basil used to remind me to wash my hands. Look, they're so dirty!
Ew, Cal.
Cal, you should probably wash your hands anyway.
Everyone, I know it's tough right now, but we have to stay positive. We should all try to be like Basil. Even when Basil is upset, he always manages to smile. So, is there anywhere you haven't checked yet?
Well, there's a forest west of the stump, but
It's gross and full of spiders!
spiders.
Well, you know what that means.
Artist said these weren't so juicy, so I didn't care for them. Dang, that is unlucky. Mine's is pretty juicy, and it's very good. I wish your apple was.
Once again, it's time to face your fears, little brother. And that means you too, hero.
Come on, big bro. You can't back out now. It's just like how it is with Omori. We're here to support you all the way.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just being silly.
Don't worry, guys. If anyone or anything tries to hurt you, I'll smash it out of the way. You can count on it. And don't forget about me. I'll always be there to help too.
Yeah, we can do this together. Let's go to the forest west of the stump. Lead the way, Omori. We're back in Fantasyland.
Yeah. Take a look at the emotions chart. That's, I mean, although happy isn't exact, but like this kind of represents how each person reacted after Mari's death.
Oh.
At least the ones in the triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And Cal just tried to like be happy for others around him and move past it. And Aubrey got angry, and you heard that story at the cemetery of how sad Hero got.
Yeah. It's interesting. Oh.
It seems that I'm the perfect length to block this path.
A hot diggity dog. I didn't realize I was kind of in the corner of my face cam.
Yeah, you've kind of been this whole time. Are your friends smiling warmly behind you? Oh.
I can't move.
Oh boy. I've been waiting so long for this event. It is a delightful day indeed. Oh yes! At last, our glorious Princess Sweetheart will finally make her appearance. Oh my. I can hardly contain my excitement. This show is sure to be the most electrifying of them all. Oh dear, we must hurry. Our 4 front row show tickets are right here. We are in for the time of our lives and must not be late. Now, which way do we go again?
Oh. What?
No. They just wanted to go to their thing.
Aww.
Da-da-dee-do-da-da-da.
Got one. Got another. And another. Yay. Oh, I found show tickets.
Hey, cool! These Sproutmos dropped some tickets.
Macy. Oh, they're front row tickets for some kind of show. Featuring Sweetheart.
Wasn't that Captain Spaceboy's ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, it looks like some sort of contest or something. If we happen to pass by, we should stop and watch. We do have front row show tickets after all.
Well, alright. Maybe we can drop by if we happen to come across it. What do you think, Fastra? Would you want to?
It depends on if I like Sweetheart or not.
Spiders.
You ready to do this, Amari?
We'll be right here if you need us. Right, Hero?
Huh? Yeah, of course. You're no longer afraid of spiders. Amori, thanks for taking one for the team. Firefly Forest.
Woohoo! Yeah.
Ah, on second thought, let's look for Basil somewhere else. This place gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Be such a baby, Kel. There are just some spider webs here and there.
Ah! There's a spider in your hair!
What? Where? Get it up.
Just kidding. Look who's the scared one now.
That's not very funny, Kel.
What is this thing? Slice. What the heck? There's an empty joke book here. Pick it up. The joke book. It was talking about if only I had a book to write down the jokes.
Oh yeah. Do you remember where those were?
I think so. I must find at least one.
I think there was like 2, right?
That, yeah.
I could not tell you where.
I feel like they were down here. Oh wait, it's blocked.
Oh, it
Unless-
is.
If it's still blocked. Oh wait. I guess it's not. By that hot dog? Where'd the hot dog go?
Oh, you can water the plants now.
Oh. Is that good?
Yeah.
Mori gained 1 heart. Nice.
Is it like your heart cap?
Well, it's at 100 now, so I think so. It says 98 out of 100. I think it went from 98 to 100. Hero? Hero again. Aubrey. When's Cal gonna gain heart?
The cacti. Oh, there's only one. Grab.
on.
Ooh. It seems that you've all stumbled upon show tickets to a promising new theatric. If you
Mhm.
have time, you should all stop by and watch.
Do you want to watch, Vastra?
Yes.
Do you remember what the jokes are?
In the space world, you have to go to that big ladder.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Does this bird tell a joke? Wouldn't that be nice if the bird told a joke? Oh, stretching
Yes.
time. Thank you. Where's the jokes, Vastra?
I'm pretty sure they were only in the outer space world.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Not the train station?
Nope. But you can take Pluto. Doesn't he have the fast travel to a place?
Yes. Wait, what? What?
What
Big
the?
strong tree. Oh,
I don't think I've seen this.
why are my attacks doing nothing? What? What the heck? I can't get sadder. Basha, what is this?
I've never seen that.
Two damage.
Hey.
No. I guess it's impossible. Why did that happen?
I'm like looking up with it. I mean, looking up about it, but fun fact is, the big strong tree was originally taken from a tree in Omokat's backyard.
Oh. I see.
But it's since then been uprooted,
Oh. Mm-hmm.
and it fell on top of a car.
Oh no. I totally don't remember where the jokes were. I just remember coming across them.
So there is a way to defeat it.
What?
If you know Jax, like the item,
Mm-hmm.
if you purchase 40 Jax, then you can do it, which will cost you 1,000 clams.
40 jacks?
Yeah. And then some other abilities that you haven't gotten yet.
For the tree?
Yeah.
Okay. Guess I'll leave it for now. Aru said, phew, I'm back. Walk to Yui. It's hot out. Ooh, welcome back. Hope it was a nice walk.
I can tell you the location.
It's okay. Maybe next time.
Like I remember what they looked like physically, like a picture in my head.
Then where? Spoilers from Fastra, I know, right?
It's like further in and like to the right.
I don't know. I'm not seeing anything.
No, like and up. It's something
Only-
like that.
If you like actually know where it is, then I can go. But if you're just kind of speculating, then
So you're looking for a sign.
okay. You said you knew where
Okay,
it was.
I just looked it up. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Remember where the couch where you looked up at the moon?
Kind of. I don't know where that is.
It's like when you were looking through the things to try to find the CD, and it was like all those little places stacked on each other.
Yeah.
That's where it is. And there's like cars all around it.
Uh-oh. It still sounds pretty hard to find. You mean here?
Yeah.
But where here?
I'm sending you a picture. Aw.
Is it that sign?
Uh-huh.
Hmm. Man.
You're almost there. Yay, you found it.
Excellent. You recorded the joke in your joke book. I can't even like look at him in there.
I guess not.
Now I found it. I'm surprised I didn't expect to find it.
Uh-huh.
So now I can say I have a joke in my joke book.
Yee.
No! Ouch. How'd they make you go all that way for it?
I don't know. But you're good. the rest you haven't encountered yet.
Okay. Ouch. Still alive? There we go. So where's this Basil guy?
In a shoe.
Oh, okay.
Aru knows the answer.
Oh, I didn't have my chat open. There we go. Probably went to Belize, huh? Oh. I didn't know, but I think you're right. And I will hydrate. I did not see that. I saw my screen was open to the Discord message from you.
Oh. Bam, bam. Bam, bam.
Wow, ignoring chat. I can't believe it. The dono wall
Oh.
called me out. No, Aru. The surface of the water is shimmering. Do you want to throw 10 clams into the lake? Sure, why not? What the?
Hey, it's me, Weeping Willow, the goddess of the lake. Thanks for the clams, I guess. They say that money can buy happiness, but apparently it's not working.
Oh no. I just realized I forgot to take my medicine. I'm gonna take that real quick. That's my defense for why I ignored chat.
Can you do something funny for me? Maybe tell a joke?
Yes.
Oh. Okay, what is it?
Oh. You want to read Weeping Willow, a joke from the joke book? Like the last thing for me is Aru saying it's hot out. What?
Huh?
What do you mean the last thing? Last thing you remember? Did you like fall asleep?
What?
I remember when he said that, when he came back from his walk. You open the joke book. The contents of this book are too embarrassing to read out loud. Maybe someone older would be able to do it.
Oh. Really? You called me out here for nothing? Oh. What a waste of time.
Oh. How about a joke, Weeping Willow? What do you get? Oh no. Not that joke. The previous message I sent. The chat at the bottom is not displaying the new chat that is visible on screen.
Oh, what Aru sent. You already read it, but I didn't get it until okay.
What do you get? That old guy, what do you mean? The chat seems up to date to me.
Yeah, it's up to date for me as well.
Moon joke. I'll show you later. Okay. Did you hear about the rush on the moon? There's great food, but no atmosphere.
That joke. That joke was so bad. It just makes me want to. Okay.
It cut out most of that sound.
Wait.
Dang. Oh. What does that sound?
A certain stick asked to get mushrooms.
Oh. So you're doing that with your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
It's totally audible. It's like
I saw Quasimodo lighting up each time. All right, everybody, join my mushroom. Pretend I already sent the invite. Okay. There we
I
go.
see it. $33,000 steps from faster. Wow.
I got a new mooncake Pikmin.
Hey, which color?
Purple. I keep getting pink ones. This is my third pink one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. You won't be hearing any more sounds.
1 second. Perching bunny, pink. A pink bunny plush that perches adorably on your head. Well, I guess I gotta put it on. Local events? Did you see the Kura Sushi thing in the local events?
No.
Go to like your account where it says like what you need to do to level up, and then look right below it for local event patches. It's a new thing they added.
Oh,
Do you have a Kura one?
yeah. That's cool.
Yes. Chicken wing. Nice.
What do you think the world record for chicken wings eaten in 10 minutes is?
7,000. Breadfruit juice. What is breadfruit? Chicken wing. There's your answer. It's 80. It heals 80 heart because the world record is 80 eaten. Breadfruit. Does not taste like bread. Heals 50 juice. Interesting. What the? Oh, we're going.
Oh, cart.
I like it. Uh-oh. No! How do I stop this thing? Oh, jeez. Here we go, all the way back. I saw you earlier. Hero was afraid of spiders. Aw, he's afraid.
Oh.
They're bug bunnies.
Can you believe you're not even halfway done with the game?
Not even halfway?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I think about everything else you have.
That's crazy. What else is there?
In one scene you get to watch paint dry.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Lucky Slice. Let me get you.
What do you think about this new battle music?
I was noticing that. It's pretty cool. Hey, let's go, Maury. Cal's level 12. He joined everyone in the level 12 gang and got some cherry soda. Sprout Mole. Got him. Berry smoothie.
I love smoothies.
And fries. What is this weird plant looking thing?
What
Like
the?
a strawberry banana smoothie from McDonald's?
Yes.
Heroes afraid of spiders. Potted
There's also-
plant.
Tastes pretty similar to the one they sell at Costco.
Oh, nice. Uh-oh, Aubrey's almost dead.
I don't want her to die.
I know. Why can't I use it? Is because he's afraid?
I guess so.
That's a bunny. Alright, better. Oops. I accidentally healed him by 5. This thing is tough. Whoa!
No.
What the heck was that? Oh, now they're gonna be ahead. Kel's gonna be even further behind. I found a tomato at least. You got a matchbox? Used to light candles. Okay.
How often do you light candles?
Not very often in my day-to-day life. It's pretty rare. It's been a while since I've lit a candle. What about you?
I think in May.
Oh, gotcha. Ah! They went over to that. What the heck?
What the? I don't remember that.
Spiders surround this web. There we go. Got past them. What the? What is this? Aru! No way. That is awesome.
He's finding it. He's finding it.
Just one day, and then I swear I'll be content with
Thank you for the redeem, Aru. Quasimodo Football 2, just for you. Just for you. This was a very special Quasimodo Football.
Yes,
His
I can't
first
believe he
official
redeemed it.
redeem. I know, right?
Aru, you're so epic for that.
I agree. Hope that was satisfied your need for Quasimodo Football. And look, he's still here now. Ba-da-da, da-da-da,
At first,
da-da.
I wasn't hearing it because I was only listening on Discord, which is why I thought you were taking a moment to find the song.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, oh wait, and then I muted myself and then unmuted the Twitch stream, and then I could hear his redeem.
Yes.
Apparently there's an echo for me.
Oh, okay. Double fascia now. Why is this spider so weird?
Still double
Still?
fascia.
Oh, that I find hard to believe. Got it! A wooden track. And then before the spiders come and get me. Fixed now.
Yeah.
Oh, that old guy. Candly.
That's you.
Nah.
I can't find my teddy bear anywhere. The last time I had him, I'm pretty sure I was wandering through a big pink castle. Did you ever find him? Did you return him to me? I bet he's really lonely.
Okay. So teddy bear in a big pink castle. That's interesting.
I still just looking at the fact, redeemed Quasimodo Football too. So
Right.
awesome.
Oh no, not the potted plant. That thing's too tough. The railroad track is missing a segment. Do you want to set down a wooden track here? What's wrong with that? Asks Aru.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's the opposite. It's good. It's really, really good.
Oh, Mari's here.
This place is really overgrown, isn't it?
You're all so brave for going through this forest. There's even an old mine cart running through here. I wonder what it was used for.
Let's have a picnic in the scary forest.
Because previously, Aru, I was the only one to have used it. And, it's just me. But you're the first, viewer to use the Quasimodo Football Redeem. So that's why it's really, really cool.
Epic.
How are you handling your fear of spiders, hero?
Breathe in. Breathe out.
You're doing great, hero. Keep at it.
Breathe in. Breathe out.
Omori used to be scared of spiders too, but look at him now. Not even a flinch. Look how brave he's being. Wow. So brave. Yeah. So brave.
A single block of tofu.
Have you ever had a single block of tofu?
Not that I remember, but I might have. You got
Cat
cat
ears.
ears. Yeah. Where'd the cat ears go? Is it equipable? There it is. +1 defense, +10 on the speed. Ah. This is just a better version of that. It's +10 speed instead of 3. Now he has cat ears, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, another missing track. So if I did it now, I'm glad I didn't go and do it, because then I would have had to ride even further before turning around.
Oh, another mirror.
Yeah, so I was looking at that, but I don't know how to get there. Oh. There's a bridge. Yeah.
That's a good shot.
Yeah. Come on. Got it.
Hey!
First
Ooh, a
try.
watermelon.
Oh, there was one?
I think so, on the top left.
Got it. It's a tomato.
Hey!
Nice.
Creature.
A present. Ouch. Let's attack the bunny first, because it's not as tough. Ouch. There we go. Got rid of that real quick. Ouch. Come on, everyone, we can do this. Found nachos.
I want nachos.
Yeah.
Just the non-spicy kind.
Yes. Hello, stranger. I am Mush, and my lifelong dream has always been to be eaten and enjoyed. Will you finally grant my wish and eat me? Yes. Oh, thank you, stranger. You don't know how grateful I am for this. You got Mush. The nachos heal 75 a heart. Nice. Mush. Can't wait to be eaten. Makes a friend slightly stronger. I guess I'll use that in a battle. Whoa! I thought that was a nice guy. Whoa, it's all scary and evil.
Oh.
Rare bear. Whoa! 93
Oh my
damage.
God.
Are you well? Oh no, this is gonna be tough. Ah, Mori did not succumb.
Oh.
Oh!
Ooh.
Oh, the bear got me. Do you want to retry? Yes. Why is it so strong, Fastra?
I don't know.
No! Now Mori's angry. That wasn't supposed to happen. Uh-oh. This is not going well. Oh, hero.
Oh.
Oh, jeez. 184
Oh my
damage.
God.
Okay, he's out.
Oh.
Oh, Aubrey's out.
This is impossible.
Right. Ah! Oh no. No! It's so strong, Fastra.
Oh. Would it help at all to be happy?
Maybe. Oh, there he goes.
Oh.
Oh, he survived. Ah, not again! There goes Kel.
Oh.
Nice, Aubrey. That was pretty good. No!
Oh.
And it's gone again. I can't even do the release energy thing. It didn't let me.
Yeah.
Aww.
That was your closest time.
Why is it so hard?
He's angry.
Ouch. Oh, there's Kel. Oh, whiffed twice. No.
Oh.
It keeps whipping. That's too much. The whipping is like taking it too far. dang it.
This is like the hardest battle you've ever had.
Yeah, by a long shot. I don't like that Omori starts with 72. Wow, already. What the heck? Wait, he got angry again. Hey. Hero survived.
Yay!
It's not whiffing as much. I got really bad luck that previous run.
Yeah.
Yay, she's fully healed now.
Yay.
How many times do we gotta teach you this lesson?
He's just a very angry bear. Ah! We are almost there.
The headbutt did it!
Hey! Let's go!
Wow, what a bear. Oh my goodness, it was way too strong. Only 300 XP, it should have been 1,000 XP. Am I right or am I right?
I think you're right.
You're afraid of drowning. Ooh. You're right. Thank you, that old guy.
All healed up.
That's better.
Most of the jokes I've seen around are pretty bad, but there's gotta be a joke that's less bad than the others.
Can can't Candalee lost her teddy bear and can't find him anywhere. Who will listen to her troubles now?
There's the bear again.
Oh.
What the heck is this? Thing? It's kind of slimy. And smells like bad apples. There's more forest on the other side of this lump. Come on, Aubrey, smash this thing to smithereens.
Oh, what's this? You're asking me for help, Kel? How rare. Step aside. I'll show you all how it's done. I'm gonna give this strange lump all I've got.
Oh, did you Aru has a pretty good joke.
I know a pretty good joke. Let's hear it, says that old guy.
Well, this is embarrassing. I guess we should find another way past this thing.
Yes. Let's do that.
Oh, it just came up to us. Wait, I've done that Joker bit already. I retract my statement. I was wondering if that's what you were referencing. How about another joke, Murray? I think we've had enough of your jokes. Woohoo! Hey, level 13. Turn me into Aubrey.
Oh.
So, like, how do we pass it then? There's no way past this thing. They got an impossible part in Omori. This is impossible. Is there another piece of the track or something? No, here it comes. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Hmm.
Ooh. A hidden path.
Ooh.
This web is too strong to be cut. It's like Rui's from Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah.
What the heck? It's supposed to be a nice little cat. What?
What the?
Omori? I think you're forgetting somebody.
Oh.
Mori, I could probably use a little help here.
There you go.
Where are you going, Amori? Please don't leave me here.
I survived. No! Oh my goodness. Go, go, go! Why didn't you tell me about this part, Fastra?
I don't remember it.
It's so hard. This one's super easy to pass by, but the second one, that's where it gets troublesome.
Does it make any difference if you light the candle?
That's what happens if you light the candle.
No.
Ah,
Hi.
I hate that thing.
Gotta go as fast as me.
Uh-huh. Whew. You got faux tail.
I've been wanting that the whole game.
Yeah. I knew it'd be an item. Speed plus 15. But that would lower all our other stuff.
Uh-huh. Commander Connor just added to their Instagram story.
Nice.
I get notifications.
I wonder what he said. Oh, it's that thing.
Oh,
A stump. What the?
Watermelon.
You got magical bean. Where's magical bean?
I don't see it.
Starts the battle with a random emotion.
Oh.
Where did that person go? What the?
Welcome to the Lost Forest, where you find things you never knew were lost in the first place. Or perhaps they're forgotten for a reason.
Mari's picnic basket. Why is it here with this freak? There's so many places to go.
Which way you gonna go?
I suppose we all hold secrets. No matter how lost or deep down we bury them, they find their way back to the other side.
Boom, 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 boom. Are you ready?
This journey is too arduous for those faint of heart. Do you wish to leave, children? I will not blame you.
What kind of place is this?
Trying to lose yourself? Or have you accomplished that already? Either way, this is the right place for you. Perhaps that's why you've come here, to finish the job.
This is crazy. What the heck? Ghost Bunny?
Dark and scary.
I know, right? Yay. This is the biggest maze of all mazes.
Usually, we tend to do things we want, as opposed to things we say we do.
Did you hear that sound coming from me?
No.
I think my fire alarm just did eep,
Oh. No, I didn't hear that.
like a sound of it running low on battery, maybe?
Oh, maybe.
I really hope that's not the case.
Replace the battery, nerd.
No, it's too high up. I can't reach it.
Oh no.
Ah, it just beeped again. I don't like that.
Oh no.
It's really loud.
Yeah, it's not transmitting through the speaker at all, thankfully. Get a ladder, nerd.
Oh. I don't think I own any batteries.
Oh no. So you're stuck hearing that beeping?
Oh.
You have my condolences, Fastra. Go to CVS, nerd.
I think it's closed.
Go to the
Let me look it up.
24-hour one.
It just beeped again.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it's closed.
I've never been for once.
There's 24-hour ones, nerd.
Not near me.
Oh no. This is you looking at your fire extinguisher. I mean, your fire alarm.
Okay,
Kroger,
what do
nerd.
Okay, I'm getting out my little step stool.
Oh,
I
you're doing
can't.
it.
It's too loud. I can't think.
That.
I mean, it's just a single eep, like eep, but it's so loud.
I see.
How do we make it stop for now until I get batteries?
I think just taking it off. I don't know how, but I think that's what you do. Take it down from up there.
Ow.
You don't. That's kind of the point. Yeah, you should have a functioning alarm, Pastra, for your safety.
I can't. I can barely reach it. I'm on my tiptoes, and I don't know what to do.
Oh.
Something popped out.
Pick out batteries for now.
Ooh, it's a
That's
heavy-duty battery.
Oh, really?
It's a big square one. I can't reach it to take it out. I almost fell.
Oh no.
Okay.
Quasimodo football falling would not be good. 9 volt, yeah.
Okay, I took out a battery, but I still see the green light on.
Throlin says, short people problems can never be me. Parentheses, I'm 5'9" and I jump to reach certain things up high.
I mean, I'm 5'7".
Crazy not safe for work content on Twitch. Standing on a step stool.
It's so beeped. It's so beeped. I don't know what to do. The sound is making me go crazy. Help. Why?
Oh no, Fastra. Just be like Quasimodo football. Like that's him taking the batteries out of his smoke alarm. What's the move, Fastra?
Warning. Alarm will operate without power. Great.
It will? Just think, WWQD, what would Quasimodo do?
What do? I don't have any replacements. And the beeps are so loud.
What would Quasimodo do?
He would break the thing off the ceiling. So it won't make sounds anymore.
Oh my god, step stool, what are you doing?
My fire alarm's going off, but just doing eek, like little eek sounds because I'm guessing it's running low on power. So I took out the battery because I don't own the type of battery it wants me to replace it with.
Right.
And I was gonna get some tomorrow to replace
If it's going to drive you nuts, go buy a battery, as annoying as it will be.
But it's scary.
And then Aru says, don't worry, Fash, you go to Kroger, I'll do your voice rolls.
I don't know what Kroger is.
It's a store!
I've never heard of it.
They might have your batteries. See if there's one near you. That old guy's all for Aru doing her voices.
The closest Kroger is 97 miles away.
It's worth it. The beep is so loud. Thanks for the stretching time, Redeem. And that old guy suggests HEB.
HEB's closed.
Siglo asks, can you take one out of another detector to use? Or Walmart.
I don't want to. I don't want to go out into the world so late at night. It's scary. That's
It is late, yeah. Just go to Radio Shack. Ooh. Gas station near your house. Another suggestion from that old guy.
no, gas stations are even more sussy at night.
Is it still beeping?
Uh-huh.
We're so lucky because we can't hear it.
Yeah, just like that. But it's like loud.
Stick Mom says to sleep in a different room and close the door. What do you say about that?
I've been in my living room, and it's the fire alarm above my around the living room door.
Then Walmart or Target it is, says that old guy. Throlin says Radio Shack takes drag from cigarette. Haven't heard that name in years.
Can you pull up a picture of Burger Boy and show it to Throlin? That's him.
Burger Boy? What do you mean?
Burger Pants from Undertale.
Oh. Why'd you say Burger Boy?
I don't know. Well, Stick Mom, I am going to sleep in my room, but for streaming, I was in the living room, so my voice isn't right next to a neighbor's wall.
Oh, I see. Here's Burger Pants.
Yeah, that's Throwing thinking about Radio Shack.
Haven't heard that name in years. Okay, y'all are almost done anyway. Yes, we are. But poor Fastra has to keep hearing that. Is it still bothering you?
Yeah, it makes my like how I hate loud noises, and each time it's like a loud car horning, and it's like, oh my god.
No, Fastra.
Okay, my last resort, I'm gonna try and take it out. Or do you think if I took the battery out of the other one, would it then the other one start doing eek?
Maybe.
Oh. I don't want to chance it because then I couldn't sleep. The only other one's in my bedroom.
Oh. Aru said it would, yeah, lol.
Oh no.
I'm more thinking I'd dress in detective clothes, but Burger Boy works also. Yeah, I see what you mean. The detective fit. Haven't heard that name in years. You can finish the stream tomorrow. As knowing as it is, I think Walmart will be the best option, says that old guy. What's the verdict, Stra? You're the one who's hearing it.
Walmart's closed. Everywhere's closed. There's
And
nothing
scary.
I can do. What if I like go to my fuse box and turn off all power in the living room?
I don't know. I don't know if that would work, but it might. That guy says Target. How about Target, Fastra? They're both saying no.
Yeah, Target's closed.
Yeah, do it. That'd be funny. Turn off all power to your living room.
Well, the smoke alarm says it still work without power. Ah!
Oh, I heard it that time. Then gas
I
station.
hate loud noises. I hate them.
Oh, that's so unfair.
Gas station. No, I will definitely, for sure, be kidnapped if I, as a female alone by myself, go to a gas station this late at night.
That old guy suggests to go to a well-lit one. Throwing
I
out for
wouldn't
some
trust
good
it.
advice. Wait, what?
I don't remember what I just said.
What did you just say?
I don't remember.
Like
I can't.
Twister.
Like I literally can't think with this thing doing so loud.
Well, Throlin says your best choice is to drop kick it out the ceiling, which I think is a pretty good idea.
Okay,
You think you can
I'll try to
manage?
do a drop kick.
Okay. And then Aru's taunting you by saying, beep!
Aru, how could you?
I heard it again just now. Stick Mom says, one time I just pulled it out of the ceiling partially and it stopped. That's what I was imagining, like pulling it out entirely.
But what if it then makes like my whole building like alarm go off or something, and then
It
everyone
shouldn't.
glares at me?
Well, at least you didn't do like an incense inside and then cause that whole mess.
It won't. It just turns. It doesn't. Ah! It doesn't come out.
What if it does?
Ah! I took it all the way out, and it's hanging by a thread, and the light is still on.
No way.
It's literally off its hinges right now, hanging just by a single cord, and it still wants to do at me.
Oh, Quasimodo. So well-lit gas station it is? The wire should be able to be popped out of the back.
I can't see. I'm like on my tiptoes. I can't reach it. I can just see that it's hanging, but I can't really quite see the cord or reach it.
Aru has a good suggestion. What if you sleep listening to ASMR?
I might have to, or like something to block it out.
You're gonna accept defeat
Uh,
for tonight?
I don't know. I'll see.
I'm worried. Yes, beeping birds. Beep!
Well, maybe we can just get to a stopping point in the stream because I don't think I can concentrate on the stream with it beeping
Okay.
or on anything.
I'm more of a need kind of person.
Lo-fi music on full blast to drown out the sound, unless some songs have a beeping noise in them. Basher, you can't escape the beeps.
It's everywhere.
Even in chat, in your lo-fi music.
I suggest you look for the exit before your needs become more apparent.
What is he talking about?
Smoke alarms.
Uh,
16 hours we played this awesome game. Well, I like you said, I suppose that is a good place to stop, but under unfortunate circumstances that you have to be doing that. that you have to be putting up with that. That old guy says I would go get it, even though I'd already been ready for bed. Aw, he would get it for you.
Thank you.
What if the beat made fine booms instead?
I think that would actually be better for me. It's not
Boom.
so high pitched and ugly.
And then it could happen after she says stuff, and it'll add more impact to the thing she says. Quasimodo football.
I don't
Costco
deserve
guys.
this.
What?
I don't deserve this. I'm just
Mm,
being in my home after a long day, playing some nice Amori, and it at like the loudest decibel that you can think of.
yeah, I agree that you don't deserve that. It's kind of funny, but it's also I wish you didn't have to go through that. Maybe the Costco guys have it. Call the Costco guys and see if they can help.
I think they could help. He
Yeah.
seemed like the ones who would have replacement big fat square batteries.
They would. You're right. Can I get 5 big pips? I think she's gonna have more than 5 tonight. This is
Like
gonna
literally hundreds.
I love how it can only do it when you're talking while it beeps. Then we can hear it. I did want to stop around midnight anyways, but like I said, I wish it was under better circumstances that we had to stop. What if like you're gonna be the Squidward with his eyes opening during the night?
Probably. Because it's if you can like imagine my apartment layout, like there's the kitchen and there's the laundry room kind of next to the kitchen, and it's like it's up near the intersection of the kitchen, living room, and laundry room, like that little area right there.
Yes.
So it's kind of right outside my door, but at least I'll be able to close my door, so maybe it won't be as loud. And
I hope so. I would not want to try sleeping with that. Send in a work order for maintenance and have them come in tomorrow while you're at work, suggests Stickbomb. That sounds like a pretty good idea. So that way you won't have to deal with this any more than you have to. What if
I
you
hope
told
so.
it nicely to shut up?
I don't think it listened to me.
Oh, nice or not, huh?
Yeah, I'll probably do that. I just have to clean a walkway because currently there's not a walkway from the front door to the alarm.
What do you mean, Pastra?
Remember when I said that's my room or that's my apartment?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's stuff everywhere. Like
I see.
three big boxes of empty Uncrustable box. A big thing of a mixed box of famous Amos Cheez-Its and the little puff pirate balls, white cheddar. My snack box, my other snack box, my works gear, and just everything. I don't know where to put it.
Well, Stickmom says they're used to it.
Well,
So
I don't want to
that.
provide them. I need to at least provide a walkway so they won't
That's
do
true.
whoa and then trip.
Fascia doesn't throw away her trash. New lore unlocked.
Ooh.
You got Uncrustables everywhere. And then there's not a path to your... How do you get around then, Fascia?
Like the floor is lava kind of stepping.
Oh, fast. This has been quite an interesting end to this stream. I must say, I didn't expect things to go like this, but here we are.
Here we are in the future.
Here we are in the future, and it's peak.
Oh.
The fastest Fastra has to deal with this. Yes, it should be. One second. All right.
There's the culprit.
The alarm.
This alarm right here. Here's the big fat battery that doesn't do anything.
Yeah, because it can still exist even without it.
Uh-huh. And see, it's just me on my tippy toes.
I thought you said it was hanging by a thread.
I put it back on.
I heard it. This says a lot about society. I agree, Aru. I agree.
So should I just leave this here or put it back in? I don't remember which way I had it.
I guess you don't need to put it back in if it's already low.
Okay. Someone curse this thing out.
Oh, it ain't gonna be me. Aru said it
Aru,
doesn't really matter. It's flat anyway. LOL. Right.
Ari, can you curse this thing out for me?
Call it a
hate this
nerd.
thing.
Why do you keep beeping, nerd? I'll curse it out real quick. Oh,
Yeah,
Roland.
go ahead, Roland. You have my full permission to curse this thing out right now.
Ooh, Aru says, why would I do that? It's doing its job.
But it's so loud. It can do its job, but quieter. I would still be able to hear it.
Oh, bringing out the COD insults in this one. Ooh.
Oh.
Shoot. Yeah, you'll make it beg for mercy. Would you rather burn to death? Asks Aru. Yeah, Fascia. Because your alarm wasn't working. Would you rather have that?
I can be that dog in the meme. This is fine. Because at least it'll be quiet.
Yeah, because you don't have your alarm. Oh, fastest. This is truly a faster moment, like, of all time.
I hate this thing for being so loud.
When's it gonna beep next?
I don't know, but it beeps a lot and beeps loudly.
Looks normal to me.
It's a demon machine. It's what demons sound like.
Oh, okay. That old guy says, will it still do its job in its current state?
Yeah, it says alarm will operate without power.
I love that for you. Roland says, sipping on coffee, sitting at the dining table, listening to beeps as you slowly go insane, wondering when the beeps will stop, but only knowing that the beeps will take over. Beep. That's Fascia sitting, just sipping her. She doesn't drink coffee. That's the only inaccurate part. Everything else, though, is definitely her, just slowly going insane.
Here, last thing I'll show before I turn my camera off.
Best thing to do is go to sleep so you don't have to hear it anymore, says Stick Mom. The Uncrustables!
Okay, that is all.
She wasn't kidding, y'all. There actually is Uncrustables. Coffee. Yeah, she don't drink it. She hates it. Yeah. And she somehow can function without it. So, props to her. Well, I think the take care out there has written itself today, because there's someone who needs to take care more than in a long time. There's a big recycling bin a few feet away. uh what a fashion night. That's all I can say. What a fashion night. Break down your boxes. Ooh, Aru's getting on you.
Yeah.
I just realized that I don't know if the stream could hear some of what you said while I was showing myself, but if so, they only missed a little bit. Name everything you said recently.
I don't remember what I said. I said that the recycling is a lot further away than you think.
Hmm. And then you said you don't like coffee. You don't like the taste.
Like think the house that we lived in for like 3 years in the 2020s.
Yeah.
And the distance from the house to the mailbox, then multiply it by like 3.
Oh. Okay. Ooh, well, Stick Mom says put in your car and drop it off on your way to work, so you don't have to walk it.
But the gate is closed because of like they're putting in weird stuff like traffic gates or something.
What?
So it wouldn't be on my way. I'd have to go left and then go right out the other gate.
I see. Last week? Well, what's up?
I'll do it eventually, especially now that I need to clear a path for maintenance people.
Aru says you should get a recycling bin inside so you can have a place to put it in.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. That old guy liked your laugh. Oh, there we go. Now he fixed it. Yes, I'm glad you caught that old guy.
Where can you get a recycling bin?
Aru has a few extras. If you want to swing by his place and pick them up.
I don't even know where he lives.
Oh, he says you could also use one of those boxes as a bin.
It's pretty small. It wouldn't be able to fit much, like as a long-term use kind of thing.
Well, until you get a recycling bin, maybe. Put everything in there.
Recycling bin?
That old guy says Walmart. That's where you get it.
Walmart.
Oh, Walgreens.
I don't remember seeing like just recycling bins for sale.
They just kind of show up.
Yeah. Like in like schools, like in classrooms and stuff, they'd just be there and
Yeah, where do they get them from then?
They just spawn them in.
So then you should be able to. Stick Mom says to empty it once a week so it won't get too full.
Okay.
Well, Aru confirmed. They spawn in. That's the lore.
See, I knew it.
20% spawn rate. Mm-hmm.
No, I've been unlucky. It hasn't spawned in yet.
So now your Uncrustables boxes just lie on the floor.
Yeah, and they're waiting for the spawn.
Walmart has a recycling bin for less than $12. Ooh.
Hey.
So they do sell them there. It's not just a myth.
Okay. Do
But
you think they sell
now-
them at Costco?
Maybe. We have to ask the Costco guys for that.
So then I can get myself a delicious pizza slice.
Oh. I already said I bought mine off Amazon, so that's an option for you, Fastra.
I can just deliver.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the same one we have, says that old guy. The cheap one. But it does the job. Got any final Fastra comments about your situation?
I love beeping.
Oh, now you love it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I'm glad you don't, it's not driving you insane anymore. You've
I'm
come
already
around
insane.
to liking it.
You're talking to an insane person.
Embrace the beep, says that old guy. Oh, Fastra. Well, if you ever find... Well, thank you for the advice, everyone, as well. Oh, he censored the word. Beep. Ooh, Throlin taunting you.
No.
That's what your life is now. Is just consumed by beeps. And next time you appear on stream, you'll be a totally different person. Tomorrow, you'll only be able to speak in beeps.
Yeah.
What's my shirt say? Imagine if it said "Stranger Beeps."
That's what I'm going through.
You get used to it. The amount of memes I'm going to have set up about beeping is insane. You should. It's so
Oh,
meme worthy. Please share if you make any.
All
Are you
right.
gonna survive the night, Fastra?
I'm going to try. Hopefully it won't be too loud if I have the closed door.
I mean, maybe you could go with headphones if you're able to fall asleep with those on.
But I always sleep on my side.
That old guy suggests hotel. What if they had a fire alarm at the hotel? It followed
Oh
you
no.
there.
Like, do you remember that when we were staying at a hotel and the fire alarm was going off and you were somehow sleeping through it, but I was just crying.
You were?
Uh-huh. And Dad was like holding me, and I was just like, "Eh," every time it went off.
Aww. I didn't remember that.
Yeah,
Is
because
this-
you were asleep. You somehow were sleeping through it.
Throlin makes a good point. The alarm clock beeps as well.
Oh,
You're hold on to your
I
sanity,
can't
Fastra.
escape it.
I can't believe I slept through it. I guess I'd be fine then if I was in your shoes. Because I could just sleep right through it, any volume of noises. But you gotta watch out, Fastra.
Yeah, I'm so sensitive to the sounds I hear whenever I'm sleeping.
Yeah. That's so unlucky. What if the real Omori was the beeps we made along the way?
That's so true.
Very wise. Very insightful. Because I think the real star of the show tonight is Fastra's smoke alarm.
Oh.
And now you have to suffer. This is the last we're going to see of sane Fastra. And then soon she'll be talking to inanimate objects. It's gonna be insane. The one beep to rule them all. Let's go. One beep to bind them. Are you gonna survive, Fastra? Survive this night?
Probably not.
Oh, well, it definitely was entertaining, if nothing else.
Did you hear that one?
No, not that one.
Oh, you paused at the exact moment it went off.
Ah, I wish I heard it. Dude, this is just like FNAF, says Aru. Kind of is,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
FNAF would be so much better of a game if it had beeping in it. Well, if you find yourself having to go to bed with the incessant, incredibly loud, and disruptive beeping despite no battery, that's you. Take care.
Thank you.
If it's like FNAF, the beeps will keep you alert of the animatronics. That's what it, so just think of it like that. Just imagine you're playing FNAF. That old guy says take care out there, but ours says take beep out there. She will. Don't worry, she will. Oh, Fastest. You are in for quite an awesome night. I'm sure you're excited.
Man.
Let's find someone to rave.
Genie art.
In for a beeping night. For real. Genie art is streaming. Alright, we can do Genie art.
This guy's got so many arms. Yeah, I do. Yes. 30% of my everything goes to be everything United States
Christmas Mom, hello. Thank you for the read.
What were you doing?
How was your sleep? What were you doing? Shout out the ball guy. That old Christmas ball.